Hey, Jim Steencon here, my fellow teachers. I want to show you just a quick thing on how I do some quizzes, right? I have two types of quizzes, and obviously, we're all in this to show mastery. So when students like learn something, and so we want to give them a chance to practice, and so that's what I do with my quizzes. So, for example, like if I go to my digital logic section here, right, I'll have some questions here for like. I use formative. I think I'm going to change that to something like practice or something like that. Instead of having formative or summative, that's kind of teacher terms. I'm going to change that. But I put the quiz, I put the quiz up here, and then if I do like a preview of it, right, I can go in and take this quiz, right, and so the students can go through and I do a couple of things. One, let me get back out of here. One, I set up my quizzes uh, where they are, I shuffle the answers just because it'll shuffle. That way, if they take them again, they it kind of gets mixed around a little bit, so they can't just remember. Oh, that's right, that was the first one, that was the second one. They have to actually still read it and get the right answer. I give them multiple attempts, so they can take this quiz. They can take it as many times as they want. But what I tell them is they have to get 100%, right? They have to get 100% because these are practice quizzes. And so they need to work on it and think about, like, why did they get something wrong? Now, what I also do is I let them, let's see, some of these, I want to change this, right? I want to say, oh yeah, I let them see the results, but they only see the wrong answers, right? They won't see their correct answers, all right? And so, because basically, if you're having them practice and taking a quiz multiple times, you don't want them to see the right answer and then just go, okay, that's right. Now I have to remember what the right answer is, because I've done that plenty of times on quizzes that I've had to take as a teacher. Uh, uh, Especially like Keenan and all that kind of stuff, where it's like, oh, what was the right answer? Oh, what was the right answer? Oh, what was the right answer? Right. And then just go take them. So I don't show them the right answer. Once they get done with the quiz, they can only see the ones that they got wrong. Um, and so then when they go retake it again, they still have to answer all the questions, and they still have to think about each of the questions, and they still have to get the ones that they got right. They still have to get them right. Right. So basically, it proves to themselves that they actually know what they're talking about. Right. I also set up where I do one question at a time, just because I want them to focus on a single question. Now, I don't stop them from going back and forth. If they want, you actually can, do that. You can lock the question so they can't go back to the last one. And that's only useful if you have follow-on questions that kind of allude to what the answer might be for the ones before, and then they go, oh, that was right, and they go back and fix it, right? In practice, it doesn't really matter, but like on a summative or mastery quiz, then that you don't want to do that. So, but I usually don't lock the questions. I let them scroll back and forth and just make sure that they get like all their answers before they submit. Um, and then I submit it. Now, we'll talk about this require access code. We'll talk about that later, right? Because I don't use that on the practice ones. I just let them take it. I let them take it in class. I let them take it as homework. They can take this quiz and do these quiz as many times as they want, whenever they want, right? And so anyway, that's a quiz. All right, didn't make any changes, so I'm just gonna go back to my modules. And I can't remember which one I was on, but I think it was like this one, right? And so now they can go take this quiz, right? They can preview this quiz and then come in here and they can like look at this quiz and they can say, oh, I've got to identify this gate based on, this output, right? So in this case, they're looking at this and they're going, oh, what is this value? And it's like, oh, when it's 0, 0, it's a 0. And when it's a 1, 1, it's a 1, right? And when it's a high low, that's a high low, then it's also, what is it? Oh, it's a 0, so that's a 0. And when it's low high, it's also a 0, right? So then they're supposed to look at this and go, oh, what kind of gate is that? And they're supposed to identify the fact that this is an AND function, right? And then they come down and they answer AND. But, let's say they got it wrong, right? And then they submit, and they come down, and they see that they got this one. Oh, I guess it does. I guess when they take it as a student, it doesn't show, but it'll show this incorrect one, and they're like, I need to take this again, right? And now they can go take this quiz again. And they can take it over and over and over and over and over again. So anyway, that's what I do for the kind of quizzes that I want them to show me that they're learning, but also show themselves that they're learning, and then give that quiz as an opportunity for them to continue to like lock in what they know and practice and fix what they don't know. All right. So that's what I do for those kind of quizzes. But then I have ones that are mastery check. You like my little icons here? I try and do this to kind of highlight what type of assignment it is and stuff like that, but also to make it easy for me when I'm making the assignments, like, oh yeah, this is a mastery one. But also so my students can kind of see that. So I use these little Emojipedia. I go to Emojipedia and find some things here. I'll talk about that in a different video later. All right, so this one's a mastery check, right? And so I'm going to come in to the mastery check, and here's what I do in the mastery check, right? I come in here to edit. I'll show you. I come in, and I still shuffle the answers. I do not allow multiple attempts. I let the students see, their feedback, and I show them the correct answer, right? But then I also put in require access code. And then when you make this assignment, you can like change this code to be whatever you want it to be. And so what I do is when I make a mastery assignment, when I actually assign it, I come in and I change a code, and then I can stick that code up on the board or project it and show them the code. Because the reason I do this is because I don't want them taking this quiz at home. I want them taking this in class where I can kind of monitor it, right? I can walk around and monitor, because in these cases, I want them to take this quiz. It's a closed book, for example, but I want them to take it in class, right? Where I can kind of monitor. And so by doing that, I add a code, and then it forces them to actually do a code, right? So anyway, if I go back to this, cancel that, and then go to, I have to publish it. I always have my stuff unpublished. And I'll talk about that again in a different video, how I create all my stuff. But you have to have it published, obviously, to see it in the student view. So I go to student view. Here's a quiz. It's like, take the quiz, right? And it's like, oh, well, you have to have the access code. I can't remember the access code. Add code. I think that's what it was. Oh, it wasn't. How about add code, lowercase? All right. So no, I do not want to save that. And so now this is the student view of this question, right? They've got this timing diagram. They've got to do their stuff, and then they're taking this quiz, right? But they only get to take this one time. So this one is like showing their mastery of this topic. Anyway, last thing I do, you know what? I make my mastery points lower than my practice points, just because I don't want to screw their grades so terribly. But it also still lets me see that, they got 50% on or they got, 70% or 80% on a mastery, so I can tell like how they're doing, right? And then based on that, I can, give them different assignments and things like that. So anyway, that's what I do. This was a little bit long, but okay, reset student. So back, leave student. All right. Anyway, so if you have questions, please, please come and ask me any questions about this. But that's kind of how I do my practice quizzes, where I let them take them as many times as they want, but I force them to get the right answer, and they don't get to see their answers. And then when I give them the mastery quiz, they get to take it one time, but I also then show them the right answers. So again, they still have an opportunity to kind of learn what they're doing. Anyway, see you later.